What's up? I, 32, male, live in the suburbs outside Denver with my wife Emma and twin boys Connor and Tyler, both 6. I own a pretty successful landscaping and property management company now, but it wasn't always like this. 16 years ago, I was sleeping in my truck eating gas station sandwiches. Last Tuesday, I'm in my office reviewing proposals for a new corporate campus maintenance contract when my phone rings. Unknown number from my old area code. I almost sent it to voicemail, but something made me answer. David, is that you? I knew that voice instantly, even though I hadn't heard it in over a decade. My mother. Yeah, it's me, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Oh, honey, I've been wanting to call for so long, but... Well, you know how things ended between us. How things ended. Lady, you ended things when you chose your golden child over your own son. She went on about how she got my number from my Uncle Pete, the only family member who ever gave a darn about me, and how she's been following my success from afar. Real convenient timing, though, because apparently Amanda, my older sister and the family princess, was having her 36th birthday party this weekend. The whole family will be there, David. It would mean so much if you came. We could finally heal. I told her I'd think about it and hung up. Emma found me just staring at my phone, looking like I'd seen a ghost. That was your birth family? She asked softly. I nodded. After 16 years of silence, suddenly they want a reunion, right when Amanda needs something, probably. Growing up in that house was like being the understudy in someone else's play. Amanda was 3 years older, and from day one she was the star. Beauty pageants, dance competitions, expensive art classes, whatever Princess Amanda wanted, she got. Me? I was the afterthought, the kid who got dirty, worked with his hands, and wasn't sophisticated enough for their suburban social circle. Every dinner conversation revolved around Amanda's latest accomplishment. Amanda won first place in the regional dance competition. Amanda's art teacher says she has real talent. Amanda got accepted to that prestigious summer program. And me sitting there thinking, what about the garden I designed for our neighbor? What about organizing the community cleanup project? What about getting straight A's in environmental science and business math? But no, manual labor wasn't respectable in their eyes. Dad worked in finance and Mom was some fancy real estate agent. They had this vision of both their kids becoming white-collar professionals. Amanda fit the mold perfectly. I was the disappointment who preferred soil samples to spreadsheets. The breaking point came when I was 16. I'd been working landscaping jobs after school and weekends, saving every penny for horticulture school. I had my eye on this program at the community college, only $4,500 for the full certification. I'll never forget sitting them down at the kitchen table, showing them the brochure, explaining how I'd already saved $2,000 and just needed help with the rest. Dad barely looked up from his newspaper. David, we're not funding some gardening hobby. Amanda needs money for her college applications and portfolio development. What about my future? I asked. Mom sighed like I was being unreasonable. Sweetheart, Amanda has real potential. She could become an interior designer or go into marketing. You're good with plants, sure, but that's not a career path for someone from our family. Amanda just sat there smirking, knowing she was about to get another check while I got lectured about realistic expectations. That night, I packed everything I owned into my beat-up pickup truck, about $2,100 in cash, some clothes, and my grandfather's old gardening tools he'd left me. Nobody tried to stop me. Nobody asked where I was going. I left a note saying, gone to grow my own future since apparently I'm not worth investing in. Never looked back. The first few months were brutal. Slept in my truck most nights, showered at truck stops, lived off dollar menu burgers and gas station coffee, but I was determined to prove them wrong. I found work with this gruff old landscaper who owned a small company. The guy took one look at me, probably saw how desperate I was, and said, "Kid, you look hungry. Can you tell the difference between annual and perennial plants?" I started as the lowest guy on the crew, hauling mulch, pulling weeds, doing all the grunt work nobody else wanted. But I watched everything, asked questions, stayed late to help finish projects. My boss noticed. After about 6 months, he started teaching me the real stuff. How to design irrigation systems, proper pruning techniques, soil analysis, plant identification. I soaked it up like a sponge. Most guys your age just want the paycheck, he would say. You actually give a darn about doing it right. I'd been working there about 2 years when guess who shows up at one of our job sites? Amanda and her college friends, slumming it on some sociology project about working-class culture or some nonsense like that. I was up on a ladder trimming oak trees when I heard that familiar laugh. Looked down and there she was, designer jeans and all, pointing up at me while her friends giggled. "Oh my God, that's my little brother," she announced loud enough for the whole crew to hear. "Still playing in the dirt, I see." Her friends thought it was hilarious. "This is like so authentic," one of them said. "A real blue-collar worker." I wanted to climb down and tell them exactly what I thought, but my boss grabbed my arm. "Don't give them the satisfaction," he said quietly. "Keep working. Show them what real work looks like." That night, my phone rang. Dad, of course. "David, your sister said she saw you at some landscaping site today. Please tell me you're not planning to make a career out of gardening." "It's honest work," I said. "It's embarrassing," he shot back. "What are we supposed to tell people when they ask what our son does, that he's a common laborer? Tell them I'm building something with my life instead of waiting for handouts." He hung up on me. Story of my life. My boss was getting older and started talking about retirement. One day, he pulled me aside after we finished a complete landscape renovation that came out absolutely perfect. "Dave, you've got something most guys never develop: vision. You can see how all the pieces fit together, not just the plants and design, but the business side too." He'd been watching me interact with clients, handle estimates, coordinate with suppliers. Said I had a natural ability to manage projects from start to finish. "I got an offer on the business," he continued. "Big corporate landscaping company wants to buy me out, but I'd rather sell to someone who will keep the quality standards meaning something." My heart stopped. "You talking about selling to me?" "I'm talking about selling to you for half what the corporation offered with owner financing. You pay me monthly for 5 years. After that, it's all yours." I barely slept that night. This was my shot, my chance to prove I could build something real. Signed the papers 2 weeks later. The company became Evergreen Property Services. I kept the same quality standards, but started putting my own stamp on things. Better communication with clients, detailed project timelines, quality guarantees that actually meant something. Business grew steadily. Word got around that we did beautiful work on time and on budget. Started getting referrals from previous clients, then referrals from those referrals. About 3 years after taking over, I landed my first big commercial contract, an office complex with full landscape design and ongoing maintenance worth $850,000 annually. Successfully managed the installation and kept their grounds looking perfect year-round. The property manager was so impressed he offered me another contract, then another. Within 2 years, I had a crew of 12 full-time employees and was pulling in over $3 million annually. That's when I met Emma. She was the facilities coordinator for a medical building we maintained. Smart, professional, but down to earth. Didn't care what kind of truck I drove or whether I wore suits to meetings. "You know what I like about you?" she said one day as we reviewed maintenance schedules. "You actually listen when people talk. Most contractors just want to get in, get out, get paid." We got married 2 years later. Simple ceremony at a botanical garden I'd helped design for the city. My old boss walked me down the aisle since my own father couldn't be bothered to return my calls. By age 28, I'd expanded into full property management services, not just landscaping, but facility maintenance, cleaning services, snow removal, everything commercial properties needed to look professional and function properly. Started Rocky Mountain Property Group with 4 divisions: landscaping, maintenance, cleaning, and seasonal services. Had 45 full-time employees and was grossing $12 million a year. But the real breakthrough came when I landed a contract with the state government. They needed someone to oversee grounds maintenance for all government buildings in 3 counties, a $28 million contract with strict standards and 0 tolerance for delays. I assembled the best team I'd ever worked with: horticulturists, facilities engineers, project managers who shared my vision of getting things done right the first time. We exceeded every performance metric and came in under budget every quarter. The governor himself showed up for a site visit at the state capitol complex. "David Martinez has shown what's possible when you combine environmental expertise with modern business practices," he said. "This is the kind of partnership that makes our state more beautiful and efficient." Local news covered it. Business journals wrote articles. Suddenly, I was the poster boy for hometown success stories. Emma found one of the articles, framed it, and hung it in our home office. "Remember when they said you'd never amount to anything?" she said with a smile. That same week, Emma told me she was pregnant. Twins. Connor and Tyler arrived healthy and perfect, and for the first time in my life, I understood what it meant to have a real family. But success has a way of attracting attention from people who ignored you when you had nothing, which brings us back to that phone call. After talking it over with Emma, I decided to go to Amanda's party. Not because I forgave them, but because I wanted them to see what they'd thrown away. Are you sure about this? Emma asked. They hurt you pretty badly? I'm sure, I said. It's time they learned what their choices cost them. So that Saturday evening, all four of us drove to Amanda's new house in the fancy part of town, big colonial circular driveway, the works. Clearly, someone had been financing her lifestyle pretty well. We walked in and heads immediately turned. Same faces from childhood parties and family gatherings, all looking at me like I was some kind of curiosity. My mother rushed over, arms outstretched. David! Oh my goodness, you came! And this must be Emma and the boys! Amanda emerged from the kitchen wearing a designer dress that probably cost more than most people make in a month. Still the center of attention, still soaking up compliments from relatives about her sophisticated taste and artistic vision. When she saw me, her expression shifted slightly, not quite hostile, but definitely calculating. Little brother, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. Look at you, all cleaned up. I bet you don't even get your hands dirty anymore, do you? The room chuckled. Same old dynamic. Amanda gets the laughs, Dave gets put in his place. But then she kept going. I mean, we all wondered what happened to you after you ran away from home. Mom said you were doing some kind of landscaping work. That's so authentic, very outdoorsy chic. More chuckles. I could feel Emma tense up beside me. Must be nice having such simple work, Amanda continued, really warming up now. No stress, no real responsibility. Just show up, plant some flowers, collect your paycheck. I honestly envy that sometimes. My interior design consultancy is so demanding, dealing with high-end clients who expect perfection. She paused for effect, swirling her glass. But hey, someone has to do the manual labor, right? Not everyone can be management material. The room went quiet. Even by Amanda's standards, that was pretty brutal. But instead of getting angry, I smiled, reached into my jacket pocket, and pulled out my business card. Premium card stock, embossed logo, the works. Amanda, I think you dropped this earlier, I said, handing it to her. She looked confused, but took the card. Her expression changed as she read it. Rocky Mountain Property Group, she read aloud, voice getting quieter. David Martinez, President and CEO. My cousin Danny grabbed the card from her. Dude, is this real? He pulled out his phone and started typing. Within seconds, his eyes went wide. Holy cow, Dave, you're all over Google. Local landscaper becomes multi-millionaire businessman. Rocky Mountain Property Group wins largest state contract in history. This says you employ over 150 people. The room erupted. Everyone talking at once, pulling out phones, searching my name. My mother looked like she'd seen a ghost. But Amanda went full entitled princess mode. Well, she said, voice dripping with fake sweetness, isn't that just wonderful? Little Davy found a way to make money off manual labor. How resourceful! I should probably mention something I found out later that evening. Amanda's successful interior design consultancy was complete nonsense. She'd been living off mom and dad's money for years, racking up credit card debt and bouncing from one failed business venture to another. The fancy house, mom and dad's name on the mortgage, the designer clothes, credit cards, the whole sophisticated lifestyle funded entirely by the same parents who couldn't spare $2,500 to help them. But I'm getting ahead of myself. After the initial shock of everyone discovering my actual success wore off, Amanda tried to regain control of the narrative. You know, David, I always knew you had potential, she said, clearly lying. We should really connect more often. I mean, we're both business owners now. Maybe we could collaborate on some projects. I looked at her for a long moment, then stood up. Amanda, can I talk to you privately for a minute? She nodded, probably thinking she could work some angle. We stepped out onto the back patio where we couldn't be overheard. I need to tell you something, I said quietly. About 3 months ago, the city put out bids for the new Civic Center landscape design. Mixed-use spaces, public gardens, $47 million project. Her eyes lit up. Oh my God, that would be perfect for my consultancy. We could... I won the bid, I interrupted. Work starts next month. She stared at me, not understanding. Amanda, I employ 200 people now. I own the largest property services company in the tri-state area. I just bought a mountain cabin that's worth more than mom and dad's retirement fund. And you know what the best part is? I leaned closer. I'm hiring subcontractors for interior work on that Civic Center project. Had 3 different firms submit proposals. Guess whose company didn't even make the list? Her face went white. But hey, I continued, maybe you could apply for one of our entry-level positions. We're always looking for good people. Starting wages $18 an hour, probably more than you're making now from whatever trust fund Dad set up. I walked back inside, leaving her on the patio looking like she'd been slapped. The party continued, but the energy had completely shifted. Instead of Amanda holding court, everyone wanted to talk to me. About business, about opportunities, about whether I remembered them from when we were kids. Around 10 p.m., as we were getting ready to leave, my mother pulled me aside. "David, I owe you an apology. We were wrong about you. We should have supported your dreams instead of pushing our expectations. Too little, too late, but I appreciated the effort. We were hoping," she continued, "that maybe we could rebuild our relationship. Amanda's been going through some financial difficulties lately, and with your success, perhaps you could help family get back on their feet." And there it was, the real reason for the reconciliation attempt. "Mom," I said gently, "Amanda had 16 years to build a relationship with me. She chose mockery instead. You and Dad had 16 years to show you cared about my success. You chose silence instead." "But we're family," she protested. "No," I replied. "Emma and the boys are my family. The people who work for me and trust me to make payroll every week are my family. You're just people I used to know who happen to share some DNA." We left that night with handshakes and polite goodbyes, but I knew it wasn't over. 3 weeks later, my phone started ringing constantly. Mom, Dad, Amanda, various aunts and uncles, all suddenly very interested in maintaining family connections. The calls got more desperate as word spread about just how successful I'd become. Local newspaper ran a feature story about Rocky Mountain Property Group. I got invited to speak at the Chamber of Commerce. The governor announced that our Civic Center project would serve as a model for sustainable urban development statewide. That's when Amanda showed up at my office. My assistant buzzed me. "Mr. Martinez, there's an Amanda Martinez here to see you. Says she's your sister." I told her to send Amanda up. She walked into my corner office, looking around at the awards on the walls, the view of the mountains, the conference table where I held meetings with city planners and bank presidents. "Nice place," she said, trying to sound casual. "Very corporate." "What do you want, Amanda?" She sat down across from my desk, crossed her legs, and put on her most charming smile. "David, I've been thinking about what you said at the party, about opportunities in your company. I realize I may have been dismissive of your work over the years." Dismissive. That's one way to put it. "I'd like to make it up to you. I have extensive experience in design and client relations. I could be a real asset to your facilities division." I leaned back in my chair. "Tell me about this extensive experience." Her smile flickered. "Well, I've been running my own consultancy for 5 years now." "Amanda, I had you investigated after the party. Professional curiosity." The smile disappeared completely. "Your consultancy consists of 3 clients. Total revenue last year of $31,000 and debts of over $180,000. You've been living off Mom and Dad's money while pretending to be a successful businesswoman." She opened her mouth to protest, but I held up a hand. "The house you're living in? I know about the mortgage. The car you drive? I know about the payments. The credit cards you've maxed out trying to maintain your lifestyle? I know about those too." She stared at me, face flushed with embarrassment and anger. "What I want to know," I continued, "is why you think I'd hire someone who spent decades telling people I'd never amount to anything." "Because I'm family," she said quietly. Family doesn't mock each other's dreams. Family doesn't call each other's work simple and authentic. Family sure doesn't laugh when their brother is breaking his back to build something meaningful. I stood up and walked to the window overlooking the parking lot where my crew was loading equipment for the day's jobs. "You want to know what family looks like, Amanda? It's my old boss teaching a kid with nothing how to read soil reports. It's my guys working overtime to meet a deadline because they know I'll do the same for them. It's Emma believing in me when I was just another landscaper with big dreams." I turned back to face her. "You're not family. You're just someone who wants something from someone you spent years looking down on." Amanda tried tears next, then anger, then bargaining. Offered to work for free to prove herself. Promised she'd change, that she finally understood my worth. But here's the thing about respect. You can't demand it, and you can't fake your way into it. You earn it through your actions over time. And Amanda's actions for 3 decades had shown me exactly who she was. I had my assistant escort her out. 6 months later, Rocky Mountain Property Group was featured on the cover of Regional Business magazine, From Soil to Success, How David Martinez Built a Property Management Empire. The article detailed our expansion into 4 states, our reputation for quality work and fair wages, and our commitment to environmental sustainability. It mentioned that I'd started with nothing but a pickup truck and a set of gardening tools. That same week, Amanda's house went into foreclosure. Mom called crying, begging me to help save the family home that Amanda had been living in. Apparently, the consultancy had finally folded completely, and without any real income, she couldn't even make minimum payments on her debts. "She's learned her lesson, David," Mom pleaded. "She knows she was wrong about you. Can't you find it in your heart to help your sister?" "I'll help her the same way you helped me when I needed it," I replied. "I'll tell her she should have made better choices and hang up." A month later, Dad called, more desperate than I'd ever heard him. "Son, I know we haven't been good to you, but Amanda, she's talking about bankruptcy. She might have to move back in with us, and frankly, we can't afford to support her anymore. Sounds like a problem you should have considered before spending my college fund on her art classes." "David, please. What do you want me to say? That we were wrong? We were wrong? That we should have supported you? We should have. Just tell me what it will take for you to help your family." I thought about it for a long moment. "Dad, you want to know what it would take? It would take Amanda getting a real job, not some fantasy consultancy, not some get-rich-quick scheme. A real job where she shows up every day, works hard, and earns what she makes. She's trying, but with her background is being a spoiled princess who never learned that the world doesn't owe her anything. Give her time. She'll figure it out, but if you could just loan her enough to get back on her feet." "Nope. She made fun of people who show up and collect paychecks, remember? Well, now she gets to find out what that's actually like." I hung up and went back to reviewing plans for our next project. A university campus that would bring 300 jobs to a struggling part of the state. Real work that actually mattered. This is where it gets really good, Reddit. Last month, I got a call from one of my project supervisors on a residential maintenance contract. Good guy, been with the company for 8 years. Knows his stuff. "Boss, I got a situation here. Woman showed up looking for work, says she has experience in design, willing to do anything. Problem is, she's asking for management wages, but doesn't know the difference between annuals and perennials." "What's her name?" I asked. "Amanda Martinez." "Wait, Martinez? She related to you?" I drove out to the job site that afternoon. Sure enough, there was Amanda in discount store work clothes that still looked too clean, talking to my supervisor like she was doing him a favor by applying. When she saw me, her face went through about 6 different expressions in 2 seconds. "David, I didn't know this was your project. Your supervisor here was just explaining the opportunities for someone with my skill set." My supervisor looked confused. "Boss, you two know each other?" "Amanda's my sister." "Amanda," I said, "he tells me you're looking for work." She straightened up, trying to regain some dignity. "I'm exploring opportunities in the property services industry, bringing my design expertise to a more hands-on environment." "Show her around," I told my supervisor. "Explain what we actually do here." For the next hour, I watched Amanda try to fake her way through basic landscaping terminology. She called pruning shears cutting things. She thought mulch was decorative dirt. She suggested we use prettier flowers for a drought-resistant native plant installation. My supervisor was trying not to laugh. The crew was openly staring. Finally, I called her over. "Amanda, I'll make you a deal. I'll give you a job. Same offer I make everyone who wants to work in landscaping." Her eyes lit up. "Really? What position?" "General laborer, $16 an hour. No benefits for the first 90 days. You'll plant flowers, spread mulch, and follow orders from whoever's supervising your crew. If you can stick it out for 6 months without complaining, we'll talk about training you for skilled positions." The look on her face was priceless, like I'd asked her to eat dirt. $16 an hour? "David, I have a college degree. I ran my own business." "Into the ground," I reminded her. "This is an honest job, Amanda, the kind you used to make fun of me for having. Take it or leave it." She looked around at the crew, all watching this drama unfold. These were people who'd worked their way up from nothing, earned every promotion through sweat and skill. They had no patience for entitled nonsense. I'll think about it," she said. No thinking required. Yes or no? She stood there for a long moment, probably weighing pride versus desperation, fantasy versus reality. "This is beneath me," she finally said. "Then stay beneath where you belong," I replied. She left in her car, the one that was about to be repossessed, and I never saw her again on any of my job sites. The calls kept coming though, mom, dad, various relatives who suddenly remembered they had a successful family member, all wanting loans, investments, job recommendations, business partnerships. I turned them all down. See, here's what they never understood. Success isn't just about money. It's about respect. And respect can't be bought, borrowed, or inherited. It has to be earned through your actions, your character, your willingness to stand behind your word. For 30 years, my birth family showed me exactly what they thought I was worth. They chose Amanda's dreams over mine. They chose appearances over substance. They chose easy over right. Now they wanted me to forget all that because suddenly I was useful to them. But that's not how it works. 3 months ago, I got the call I'd been expecting. Amanda had filed for bankruptcy, lost the house, the car, everything, moved back in with mom and dad at age 36 with nothing but debt and delusions. Dad called sobbing, actually sobbing. David, please. She's our daughter. We can't just watch her destroy her life. You watched me struggle for 16 years and did nothing. Figure it out. But you succeeded. You didn't need our help. I succeeded because I didn't have your help. I learned to depend on myself, to work for what I wanted, to treat people with respect regardless of their job title. Amanda never learned any of that because you enabled her nonsense for 3 decades. What if she does something desperate? I thought about that. Despite everything, I didn't want genuine harm to come to her. Tell you what, Dad. I'll make the same offer I made Amanda. She can apply for an entry-level position at one of my companies. Real work, real wages, real expectations. If she can prove she's willing to change, I'll consider helping her build something legitimate. She'll never accept that. Then she'll never get my help. That was 6 weeks ago. Haven't heard from any of them since. Yesterday, everything came full circle in the most perfect way possible. I was meeting with the mayor about a new municipal park project when his assistant mentioned they'd received some inquiries from local design firms wanting subcontracting opportunities. Actually, she said, there was one woman who seemed particularly desperate. Amanda Martinez said she was related to you somehow and implied that might help her chances. I laughed out loud. Even at rock bottom, Amanda was still trying to ride my coattails instead of building her own ladder. What did you tell her? That all subcontractors are evaluated solely on their qualifications and portfolio. She said she'd be back with proper documentation, but that was 2 weeks ago. When I got home, Emma was making dinner while the boys worked on homework at the kitchen table. Normal, family chaos, the kind I never had growing up. How was your day? She asked. I told her about Amanda's latest scheme. Emma just shook her head. I almost feel sorry for her, she said. Almost. Don't she made her choices? That evening, I got a text from my Uncle Pete, the one family member who'd always been decent to me. Dave, I know you're done with this family drama, but thought you should know. Amanda tried to get a job at a fast food place yesterday, walked out after 2 hours when they asked her to clean the grill. Your parents are beside themselves. I showed the text to Emma. We both started laughing. From interior design consultancy to fast food in 1 year, she said. That might be a record. But here's the thing that really got me. That same week, I got a LinkedIn message from my old boss. He was 73 now, fully retired, living in Arizona. Dave, saw the article about you in the magazine. Couldn't be more proud if you were my own son. You took everything I taught you and built something amazing. That's what legacy really looks like. That message meant more to me than any family reunion ever could, because he saw potential in me when I had nothing. He invested his time and knowledge without expecting anything in return. He treated me with respect when respect was all I had to give. That's what real family does. So, that's my story. The family that wrote me off as a failure now begs for handouts from the success they mocked. The sister who called my work simple now can't handle the simplest job on the planet.